This is Stargazing Sweater and an explanation of how to work the short rows for the sweater. These charts need to be used in conjunction with the written instructions. I have cut them out and placed them to show you how they relate to the neckline that has already been knit. I'm working size 2, so I have cut out the charts for size 2. This is the front and back charts, and these are the sleeve charts. This is the beginning of round marker, which I've marked with differently with 2 red stitch markers. So and I've placed the charts relative to where they are. So that's the left sleeve. So that's the sleeve chart, the right sleeve, and the sleeve chart. The back, which we will also work that whole chart. And the front, I have colored in what will be the short rows, because this front section here we won't be working. If you are finding it too complicated, it's possible to not do the short rows and in fact just knit all rounds completely 8 times to do the increases and to work the color work. But your neckline will be quite high at the front if you do that, which is why we've got the short rows in the pattern. So I've colored in these orange squares which show what we will be knitting at the front. So we start off at, here are 4 rows, at 4 rows before the marker. That line indicates the beginning of round marker. Although it looks like that might be 5 stitches, it's actually 4 because one of them hasn't been made yet. It's a make one right stitch. So we will knit those 4 stitches, which will bring us to this marker. Then we will knit this chart across here, which for size 2 happens to be all main color stitches, and we'll work those increases as well. At this point we'll be at this raglan marker. We'll then work across short row 1, which is that one over there, and we'll be at this marker, and then we will work across the right sleeve. Again, it's all main color at this point, which will take us to the right front marker. The instructions say that we need to continue for the 4th time to do the raglan stitches, which are the raglan stitch and the make one marker, and then to work 3 stitches, which is those 3 that I've colored in, and then we turn our German short row. Then we will have the sweater facing the wrong side, and we will be knitting short row 2 in reverse. So we'll work back along those stitches with no increases, and we will continue the charts short row 2 across the sleeve, again across the back, across the other sleeve. We come to the beginning of round marker, which is this marker here, and then we need to knit 4, 6, 8 stitches, work those 8 stitches, at which point we turn again and we are back to the right side, and we are doing short row 3, which has the increases again, and we will continue around the chart in the same way, turning around and going back. We continue in the same way until short row 6. We will be knitting on the wrong side, coming this way until this stitch over here. Then we have a German short row over here, and we continue for German short row 7, going around the chart for the 7th round of the short rows, which brings us out here. Then the written instructions tell us to work across the front until we get to the double German stitch, which is this stitch here. So we'll knit that, we cut the yarn, and then we slide these stitches, the rest of these stitches, so that we are at the beginning of round marker now. And then the 8th short row is simply working the chart all the way around back to this point over here using the charts. when it comes to working the color work on these charts, you can see because of the way the charts have worked out with the sleeves, there is no contrast color in the first 4 rows, whereas there is color work on the back and there is a little bit of color work on the front. If you work these stitches with the knitting, you'll be catching the float of the contrast color around the sleeve and then be working it over here again, and then be catching it around the right sleeve in order to knit these stitches here. If you are happy with long floats, then that's one way that it can be done. If you prefer not to carry such long floats, it's possible to work the 4 rounds of the back color work and not work these 4 rounds here of color work at the front, and use duplicate stitch to add them in later. When it comes to these stitches here, it is also up to you whether you want to knit these contrast color stitches right here. When there is if these contrast color stitches fall on a German short row, they might get slightly distorted where there is a turn. So it's also possible to, for example, not knit these triangles and later add them in duplicate stitch if it looks like it's required, and start the color work actually at this point over here when it comes to the front, and then these ones across the front over there. So you've got a few alternatives for the front, how to work those color work stitches in. Either knit them in as you come around with the short rows, or add them in duplicate stitch later.